Coming up on Mountain News this morning, Governor Beshear updates the death toll from the tornado outbreak that affected parts of western Kentucky. And schools across the Commonwealth come together to help communities in the western part of the state deal with the devastation.
Dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Well, good morning to you again. It's just before 6 o'clock on this first day of winter, but like I said, at 5 o'clock, it's not winter just yet. That's a little bit later. And speaking of winter, let's head over to Brandon for a look at that cold forecast this morning. Brandon, I really am learning more about, the winter solstice and what time it officially starts.
That's
so
right.
I do listen sometimes.
Well, see, I appreciate that because everybody has to listen a little bit every once in a while, right?
Yeah, you're right.
That's exactly right. All right, let's get into the forecast this morning. We start off with a few clouds, and you'll see those on the satellite radar. Some areas still finally getting closed in on there, like parts of Rowan County and up toward Boyd County there. That's why Ashland and Moorhead are still pretty chilly out there. 27 Moorhead, 22 in Ashland, 26 Irvin, 28 Somerset, 27 Monticello. And it looks like everybody else is in the 30s at this point, except for Charleston, West Virginia, and back toward Lexington. Temperatures across the state and region: 29 now in Paducah, 30 in Louisville, 25 in Cincinnati, 38 our warm spot in Nashville, and it looks like 25 in Cincinnati may actually be our cold spot this morning, 31 in the Tri-Cities. 46 the average high, 49 the forecast high, so not too far off today. The record, 73, back on this date in 2013. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you. Well, Governor Beshear has updated the death toll from the tornadoes that devastated parts of western Kentucky. 76 people were killed, tying it as the deadliest tornado outbreak in Kentucky history. Now, the governor said it will be a long process for families in western Kentucky to rebuild, but he is warning families to look out for people trying to take advantage of the disaster.
We need to get the word out that these individuals are posing as FEMA representatives, American Red Cross workers, insurance adjustments, contractors for debris removal, or general contractors, when all they are miserable human beings that are trying to take from people who don't have anything to take.
Now, when it comes to looting, Attorney General Daniel Cameron says it will not be tolerated, and the full force of the law will be brought against anyone who tries to take advantage of Kentuckians. Well, seats were filled in the Bowling Green ballpark Monday night as people mourned and celebrated the 17 lives lost when the EF3 tornado hit the city just more than a week ago. Now, teachers shared memories of their former students. The International Center honored the loss of refugees, and a blanket of grief draped over the ballpark.
No one knew what it was like to grieve something or someone he loved that day. And I think he would want us to know that it's okay to feel our feelings about losing these people that we've lost in the tornado.
As we let our lights shine tonight, may they serve as a beacon of hope in our community, as well as an important step in our community's healing process.
The 17 lives were honored with prayer, song, and candlelight. Well, former Vice President Mike Pence spent time in Mayfield Saturday, meeting with tornado victims and helping the community clean up. Now, it was 1 week after the people of Mayfield caught the first glimpse of the devastation. Former Vice President and his wife, former Second Lady Karen, came to survey the damage and take in the memorial wall, honoring the victims lost in the deadly tornado.
We've seen our share of tornadoes, but I've never seen anything like this. And the devastation here in Mayfield across this region is heartbreaking.
The couple stopped by the memorial wall to pay their respects to the victims. Now, they were in town working alongside the humanitarian organization Samaritan's Purse. Pence said he was inspired by the amount of support that has poured into Mayfield from around the country. Well, the National Weather Service confirmed that the historic outbreak of tornadoes also had several touchdowns in central Kentucky. In Madison County, EF1 tornadoes took roofs off of homes, destroyed barns, and toppled trees. Our Phil Pendleton spoke to people cleaning up the damage.
And that wall will have to come down.
4:30 in the morning, December 11th, and Larry Donovan was alerted of a tornado warning, but believed the worst was to the south.
And about 5 minutes later, we heard a big bang, and we get to checking and saw that the front porch was gone. I walked out and see that part of the front roof is gone.
Outside, a large tree was also uprooted, and soon water started pouring inside his home.
So we're in the process now of getting all this, because this all has to come off the wall, and because that wall's got to come down just like the other side because water went down it.
His home is a few miles north of Richmond, west of Interstate 75. East of I-75, there's similar damage. And 12 miles to the west in Kirksville, much the same.
Yeah, it's going to make an EF1. We'll make it at 90 miles an hour. The way you know it's a tornado, like over there, there's damage to that barn and that house over there. All that's going to the northeast.
The National Weather Service describes these as skipping tornadoes, like this house right here across the street, not even touched, along with many of the other homes in this area. But then you walk over here and take a look at this farmhouse. It lost its entire roof.
This is hitting here, and the debris is going in about 8 directions.
The Weather Service believes the tornadoes in Madison County were on the ground less than a mile and were about 125 to 150 yards wide.
What we were hearing was the high winds whistling, and you could hear that.
Causing about $25,000 in damages to his home. Thankful that no one was hurt and there's no loss of life here. In Madison County, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
The National Weather Service also confirmed an EF1 tornado in Hardin County with winds of 100 miles per hour. Well, this Christmas Eve will mark 2 weeks since deadly tornadoes ravaged parts of western Kentucky. Donations, volunteers, and support are pouring in from across the Commonwealth to help. Today, a toy drive organized by Kentucky First Lady Brittany Beshear will begin delivering toys to children in the affected areas.
Christmas is coming, and children in western Kentucky have lost everything. So my hope with this toy drive is to give those children just a glimmer of joy.
We want to wrap our arms around you and make sure that this joyous time of year we can do the very best for you.
Santa himself is checking over the toys before they are giving out today. Well, schools from across Kentucky came together to support, encourage, and help all of those devastated in western Kentucky by the recent deadly tornadoes. Allie Hernan shares the story.
What we found out is Kentucky just has made a good people.
One after another, and then 62 more school buses carrying not students, but donations for the victims of the deadly tornadoes that devastated western Kentucky.
This actually shows what Kentucky is all about. There are school districts from all over the state that have participated. Just today, we have worked with the local school systems and local county government to make sure that all that we was bringing can be stored correctly and saved for a later date.
Over 30 school districts with more than 170 schools across the state spent the last week loading up the buses before traveling to Butler County.
It could be one of us, it could be our town. So as far as school districts, we all stick together. We compete on the field, on the court, but not when it comes to just being good humans. We're all in it together.
The school districts not only gave donations, but a little hope for those Kentuckians who lost so much in just seconds.
And it was just almost like it was an answered prayer for all of us. And I don't mean to get emotional, but you know, you look around today, you look at our community, how it's came together, and it just speaks volumes. And I'm just so proud to be part of it, just a little part. They've done all the work. We've just been here and trying to help all we can.
But a little help from hundreds across the state goes a long way.
Santa Claus is not due for several days. But if you look at what happened today, Santa Claus arrived on a whole lot of yellow school buses that are filled with stuff for these kids.
I think of, you know, united we stand, divided we fall. That's the motto of Kentucky. And we have seen here these, well, last week and a half or so of how people really truly come together in time of need.
Reporting in Bowling Green, Allie Hennard, WBKO News.
6:08 here on this Tuesday morning. We are continuing to track some cold temperatures out there, some patchy frost, some patchy fog. Coldest temperatures in Ashland this morning in the low 20s, and then upper 20s to low 30s across most of the rest of the region, with Jackson being the warmest at 33. 49 this afternoon, clouds early, then sunshine later on. And we'll see on the headlines, winter arrives at 10:59 this morning officially. Back and forth sunshine for the next few days, but a wet Christmas potentially on the way. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you so much. The time is now 6:09. When we come back, a new prevention option is now available in the fight against a deadly disease. We'll have those details coming up.